Welcome to everything you always wanted to know about Excel but were afraid to ask. This is Lesson 8, Data Merge. Here's what you'll need for this lesson. Microsoft Excel 2016 or newer, or Excel 365. You'll also need Microsoft Word 2016 or newer, and Microsoft Outlook 2013 or newer. You'll need this lesson's example files, and speakers or headphones, and ideally at least 2 monitors. Here's what we'll be covering in this video. Data merge, also called mail merge. How to prepare your data for data merge. And we'll look at several different types of data merge, including mail merge for address labels, document or form letter merge, and finally, email merge. So what is data merge? Data merge allows you to create a template document in Word and then use data from Excel to populate or personalize that template. Some common uses for data merge include address labels, envelopes, form letters, and bulk emails. Now, before we start data merge, we actually need to make sure our data is ready. Make sure all your data is in the correct columns. Ensure all the columns are labeled appropriately. And make sure all formatted numbers are stored as text. This is really important because formatting in Excel will not transfer to other programs. So you'll need to format your data using one of the following methods, either the text function or saving your file as a CSV. Also consider removing any rows you don't want to include in your final merge. You'll have the option to select specific records later, but if you're already working from a copy of your main workbook, it may be simpler to just do this part now. So our first use of mail merge is printing address labels. We're going to be able to turn an address book into printed labels. Microsoft Word is compatible with thousands of pre-cut label sheets, or you can create custom sizes. Before we jump into the demo, I want to make a suggestion for how you go through this lesson. It's important to know that for this lesson, we're going to be saving some changes as we go. That's going to be a necessary part of it. And you're going to have to open multiple applications at the same time. So because of this, I'm going to suggest that you download the example files to a spot on your desktop where you can find them easily, rather than working from a network copy or a network drive or anything like that. Okay, let's dive in. So here we have an address book in Excel that we want to create mailing labels for, print out mailing labels for. So this is pretty much ready to go, it would seem. But before we can use this for mailing labels, we have to make sure our data is going to transfer the way that we want it to. Now, as I mentioned a moment ago, you'll want to make sure everything looks like it's in the right place. That is definitely the case here. Make sure you want to use all those rows. I think we are going to do that in this case. And finally, make sure that your data is going to transfer over properly. And that's what we have to do here because I've mentioned it a few times in some other lessons, but one of the problems with US zip codes, and specifically with zip codes in New England, is that they start with zeros. And you're able to format them in Excel so that the leading zero appears. But if I were to just transfer this right over to a mail merge in Microsoft Word, what's going to happen is it's going to drop that leading zero once again. So in order to fix that, we learned in a previous lesson the text function. So in this case, we're going to use the text function just to make sure that that number is formatted the way we want it. So let's give this column a header. We're just going to call it postal code formatted. And it's just going to be a text function. Just text, F2, and then double quotes around 5 zeros. And that's just going to give us a text formatted version of the postal code. So even if we remove the number formatting from this column, or screw up the number formatting in this column, you'll see, although we lose the leading zero here, we don't lose it there. Now that our data is ready, we're just going to save the changes that we just made. So you can hit Control S to save, or you can hit File and then Save to save it. And I'm going to give you a quick time-saving tip here that that's gonna come in handy in a moment. If you click on File, the location of your file should be right here under the name of your file. And if you click on that and click Copy Path to Clipboard, that's going to come in handy in a moment. It's going to save you time looking for the document once we need it in Word. Okay, so now that we've saved our changes, we're going to click over to Word, and we're going to open up a blank document. If you already have Word open, you can hit Control N or File New. Once we have our new document, we're going to go over to the Mailings tab, and on the Start Mail Merge button, we're going to click that and select Labels. And that should bring up the Label Options dialog box. Now, Microsoft Word has built-in compatibility with literally thousands of different label templates. So now, if you have any sort of like pre-cut label address labels here, especially like Avery are kind of the most common, but whatever type you have, there should be a template number right up in the corner here. So what you're going to do is select the brand of labels. These are Avery US letter. And then you're going to select the label template number. Now, you can scroll through this and look for things, but you can actually also just type it in. 18160 is the type that I have. So you can go ahead and select that and then click OK. And Word is going to format your blank document for labels. Now, you can't really see it in this view. You can, if you move your mouse around, you'll be able to see it, or if you hit Control A to view all, you can see they've made separate labels. This is 30 labels to a sheet. So the next step is to click into this first label right up here on top. And still on the Mailings tab, still in the Start Mail Merge group, we're going to click Select Recipients. Now, Word does allow you to type a new list. So if you click that, it'll just open up a table for you to type a list for your mail merge. But this is an Excel course, so we've already made our list and it's in Excel. So we're going to click Choose an Existing, and this Select Data Source screen is going to pop up. Where it says file name, if you copied your file path earlier, you can just paste that in right now and hit open. If you didn't, you can browse and find the file that you saved, and you can go ahead and select that now. Once it opens, it's going to bring up this select table dialog box, and you're going to choose which of the tables. In this case, these are actually the different tabs in our Excel sheet, but you're going to choose which one of them we want to use. So in this case, we're using the mailing labels tab. And you want to select that first row of data contains column headers. I don't recommend ever doing this without your first row of data containing column headers. So make sure they do and make sure that's checked. Once you've selected your data table, all of these additional buttons should, they were grayed out before, but they should all become available to you. Now, Word can actually detect your fields and try and compile an address block for you rather than you having to specify the different pieces of the address block for it. So we're going to actually do that. We're going to click the address block button, and we're going to get this Insert Address Block dialog box. And that's going to allow you to view what Word has detected your addresses should look like. And you can view these and make sure everything looks okay. And you can see that we have a problem here because we're dropping the 0 from our postal code. We know why that is. It's because Word is automatically using the postal code column, but we actually wanted to use the postal code formatted column. So how are we going to deal with that? We're going to go into this Match Fields tool here. This allows you to make any changes you want to how Word automatically kind of detected the different fields match up. And we're going to click on postal code and select postal code formatted instead. And now you can see that solves our problem. Now we have the correct we're using the correct postal code column. You can also make sure that you select only include the country or region if it's different from the United States. So we had a country column in there. We actually labeled things USA, but Word is smart enough to know that that means United States. And we can say, don't include the country in that case. Or you can say always include the country, and then it's going to show it no matter what. Once you've got your address block or anything else you want in this first label, you're going to click the Update Labels button. And that, you will see, will add that address block to every label. And then you're going to click Preview Results. And this shows us what all of our labels. Now, if you want to make any changes to these labels, you can make them just to the first label here. So what I want to do is actually just tighten up the spacing a little bit so that everything will fit a little better. I'm going to remove this extra space before paragraph. So if you do that, you make those changes, just make them to the first label, and then go ahead and go back to the mailings column and click Update Labels. And all of those formatting or other changes should populate out to all of the labels. Now, if I wanted to do anything super custom here, like if I wanted the name to be bolded, I could do that, but I won't be able to merge that to all the labels because, remember, this was all one field. As a result, I can't make changes to like parts of it. And the way around that, if you want to do something really custom, is just to use the individual merge fields instead. So you insert the first name and the last name, and then street address, city, state, postal code. And now I can go ahead and bold this if I wanted to, and click Update Labels. Now the problem with this is it doesn't deal with the country stuff. So I recommend using the address block if you can. And if you can't, then you might want to just print your US and your non-US labels separately so that you can change the formatting around as needed. So once we've got our labels the way we want them, and these look good, these look ready to go, we're going to go back to the Mailings tab and click Finish and Merge. And we're going to click Print Document. Now, if you're printing a lot of labels and you want to be sure you've got it right, I recommend starting with just printing, printing one page of them. So this has 30 on a page. You could select Print Records 1 through 30. That's going to print the first 30 records. Even print them on a plain sheet of paper and then hold it up with the labels in the background, hold it up to the light and make sure everything lines up correctly. It shouldn't be a problem if you selected the correct label template, but it never hurts to check. So that's just one way that we avoid printing 200 labels and using all of our labels and then realizing they're all wrong. Print. So if I click OK here to print, it should bring up my printer dialog, so I can choose my printer and tray and all of that, and then it will print, and I'll have my labels. Next up, we'll look at how to create form letters. We populate data into a form letter template to create personalized documents. We can also edit individual documents after merging for additional personalization. So now we're looking at the form letter example. And I don't know about you, but I get these all the time in the mail. Just letters saying, we can lower your monthly payment, we can save you money, etc. And they've got all the numbers filled in. So this is kind of a made-up example of the same sort of thing, but you've probably gotten this in the mail or something like it at some point if you're a homeowner. So this is what we're going to do. I've written this document that you have in your example files, and I've gone ahead and left out all the personalized stuff, and we're going to fill those in with merge fields in a moment. So if we go back to our Excel example file and look at the form letter tab, you'll see the way we did that last one, the mailing list, the mailing label example, is not really going to cut it here. In mailing labels, we had one column that had numbers in it. It was very easy to just write a text function and to use that to create our merge. Here we've got a document that is entirely numbers. The whole thing is numbers. Now you could go and make formatted columns for every one of these using the text function if that's your cup of tea. That doesn't sound like a lot of fun to me, So we're going to look at a different method of saving this in a way that Word can handle it. So basically what we're going to do is save this off as a separate file in a different format as a CSV file. So the way we do that is we're actually going to right-click on the form letter tab here, and we're going to click Move or Copy. And that's going to bring up the Move or Copy dialog box. And we're going to select where we want to move or copy this to. I actually want to create a copy. I don't want to move the tab. And I want to copy it to its own file. So if you click this down button, it'll show you all the documents you have open currently. But you're going to click New Book. Make sure Create a Copy is checked and hit OK. And Excel is just going to break this worksheet out into a new workbook. Note that the original worksheet is still there because we selected Create a Copy. So it's still in our example file, but it's also in a new file. Yours is not going to be called Book 6. It's going to be called Book whatever. So now that we have this separate file, we're going to save it as a CSV file. So the way we do that is we go to File, Save As. We're going to hit Browse. And then we're going to save this file. So we need to determine where to save it. Now the best place, I think, and you'll see why in a moment, to save this is under the My Documents folder in My Data Sources. So you're going to select wherever you want to save it, but I recommend saving it here. And then under Save As Type, we're going to click this down arrow, and we're going to select CSV, delimited. And I'm going to save it as form letter data. And then hit Save. Now that we've done that, we are going to go back over to Microsoft Word and into our form letter, and we're going to start a mail merge. Just like the last one that we did, we're going to click the Mailings tab, and this time we're just going to jump straight to Select Recipients. We already have our document. We don't need Word to format a document for us the way we did with labels. So we're just going to jump right into Select Recipients, use an existing list. Now, the reason I suggested saving your document in the My Data Sources folder is that Word always looks there first. So when you click Select Your List, it's going to take you right to the My Data Sources folder. So it's going to save you a step of going to find it. Go ahead and select that list. And since we have the file open, you might have to select Open a read-only copy. Now, unlike last time, it's not going to ask you to select which tab or table you're using because there was only one tab in that file. So now that we have that connected, we're ready to just insert all of our merge fields. So we've got our customer name, and we've got the remaining principal, and all the other merge fields. You're just going to select them one at a time, and I'll spare you watching me do that. But once you've put all your merge fields in, then we'll continue. Okay, so now that we have all of the fields inserted the way we want them, we can go ahead and click the Preview Results button. And again, just like the mailing labels, you'll see all of the individual data has filled in here for our first record. And you can click through and look and make sure a couple of your records look right. But you'll notice that just like the previous example, our numbers are formatted correctly because we used a CSV file to just save those formats directly within the file. So this looks pretty good, looks ready to go. But one thing that you're able to do, let's say you want to add some additional personalization to some of these. You want to edit the individual letters. You just want to merge the data in, but you still want to go over them with a fine-tooth comb once that's done and enter whatever additional data you want. You can do that. When we click the Finish and Merge button here, there's a few different options. And last time we looked at print documents. This time we're going to do Edit Individual Documents. So what this is going to do is it's going to take your form letter template and you'll tell it which records you want to use. And then when you hit OK, it's actually going to create a new document. It's called Letters 1 here. It's going to create a new document that instead of the individual fields we had before are actually, this is just populated in here. This is no longer, we can edit this however we want. So instead of, one document and a bunch of different copies of it based on which fields we were populating, we now have one document with a page or a copy of the document essentially for every record. And we can go ahead and edit that as we see. Finally, let's take a look at the most underrated form of data merge, email merge. Email merge lets you send emails using Excel data to fill in personalized information for each message. Unlike the other types that we just covered, email merge requires you to have Outlook set up in order to use it. Pro tip, set Outlook to offline mode to view and edit emails before they get sent. Last but not least, we're going to try out email merge. Now, email merge is one of my favorite features of Excel and of data merge. And it's a little bit underrated. I feel like a lot of people don't use it very often or don't use it to its full potential. So for this, we're going to need our Excel example file. We're also going to need to, once again, create a new document in Microsoft Word. And we're going to need Microsoft Outlook as well. So starting off, we're going to create a blank document in Microsoft Word. And in this, we're just going to type whatever we want our email to. So for our data here, we've got this list of fake names and email addresses and a car, make, model, and year. So in our blank Word file, we're going to start off just like we did with all of the other mailings. We're going to select our recipient list and use an existing list. Once again, that can be just our regular Excel file. So now that we've selected our list, this time we're actually going to click the Edit Recipient List button. This is going to show you all of the records in your list and allow you to choose using these check boxes here which ones we want to include in our file. So our example, we're going to send an email as if we're a used car dealer. And what I'm thinking is let's just exclude people with cars that are more than 20 years old. But nobody's trying to buy a car that's more than 20 years old from a used car lot, most likely. So we're just going to sort our list on the car year, and we're going to uncheck all of these. Let's say 25 years. Okay. And then we're going to hit OK. Now we're going to go ahead and write what we want our email to be. So that's going to be, in this case, something like, hey, first name. I'm Andrew from Drew's Used Cars. We've been getting a lot of inquiries about cars like your year, make, model. And we'd love to make you an offer on a trade-in. Etc., etc. I've gotten these emails before. It's usually like, we'll pay you $1,000 more or whatever. Sincerely, Andrew Small. That's me. Now you can do whatever you want to this document. Again, you can make it as pretty as you want. You can throw graphics in here, all the regular stuff you would do with an email or with a Word document. But this is not a Microsoft Word class, so we're going to skip over all of that and just assume that we want to send this really ugly email. So we're going to do this. We're going to go ahead and preview that and make sure it looks right. Save you lots of inquiries on your cars like your 2013 Ford Flex. Perfect. So, maybe we want to bold this or whatever. So now that we have our template looking the way we want it, the next step is to open up Microsoft Outlook. So one thing I like to do when I'm doing an email merge, especially if I'm sending a lot of emails or it's particularly complex, I like to set Outlook to offline mode first. So the way we do that is up on the ribbon on the Send Receive tab. There's a button that says Work Offline. And if you click that to activate it, that's going to put Outlook into offline mode. So in offline mode, any emails that you try to send are going to go into your outbox rather than sending in real time. And the advantage here, the reason we're doing that here, there's two of them. One is this is your first time doing an email merge, so you want to look over everything after it's done, make sure it's right. And the second big reason is we're dealing with fake data here. So you probably don't actually want to send these emails. So being in offline mode will prevent them from actually sending. So now that we've set up Outlook, we're going to go back to Word. And we're finally ready to just finish and send these emails. So the way we do that, once again on the Mailings tab, we click the Finish and Merge button. And we're going to click, this time we're going to click Send Email Messages. So when you click Send Email Messages, it's going to bring up this Merge to Email dialog box. And in the first column, you're going to select the column from your spreadsheet that has the email address that you're sending to. We named it email, and Word is smart enough to figure out that that's what that is. So it automatically selected for us. Next up, you're going to enter your subject line. So let's type something in there. And we're going to leave this mail format as HTML. And we're going to select which records we want to send. So we've already, removed the ones we don't want to send. So we're just going to leave it on all. And we're going to click OK. And after we click OK, we're going to go back to Outlook and see what happens over there. So back over in Outlook, you can see that one by one, Word is creating these individual emails. You can, if you look here, you can kind of see that, each one is personalized with the name and the type of car. So one by one, it's adding those, and they're going into our outbox. Now, if we weren't working offline, they would actually just be going directly into our sent items bucket. But again, these are fake email addresses, and we don't. One of the other advantages of using the outbox in this way and working offline is that we can edit these messages before we send them. This is useful for a couple reasons. One of them is you might want to add some additional personalization to some of them. Let's say you have a personal relationship with a client, or you just want to throw a little special note in some of these based on their past activity or whatever, or other knowledge you have about them. You can do that. You just double click on an email and go into the specific email, and you can make any edits you want to this. And then you can hit send again, and it'll go right back into the outbox and queue up. The other thing that this is useful for, Word is always going to queue these messages using your default email from address. So if you have more than one from address connected to your Outlook and you want to use something other than the default one, you can go into the messages and click that as well. Finally, in this case, because we're not really going to send most of these, what I want to do is just send one of them to myself, just so I can see that it worked. So I'm going to change the to address on here and enter my email address instead, and then I'm going to click send. And when I click send, you can see that it's still in the outbox because we're still offline. But now it's going to me instead. And what I'm going to do just to demonstrate this next part is I'm going to delete all of those that were going to fake addresses and just leave this one in here. So once you're done, once you've edited your messages and you feel like everything looks good and you're ready to actually pull the trigger and send them, you can just click the Work Offline button again, and you can see down here that we're working offline currently. And when I click the Work Offline button again, this message is going to disappear, and it'll now show that we're connected to the Exchange server. And in fact, that message is now in my inbox. The message is successfully sent, and they're successfully personalized with the data from our original spreadsheet. And that's email merge. Let's review what we learned in this lesson. We learned about data merge and mail merge. We learned how to prepare your data for data merge. And we looked at 3 different types of data merge: mail merge for address labels, document or form letter merge, and email. Thanks for watching this lesson. We'll see you next time.